Hello everyone and welcome back to Arctic Retro. So I recently released a video about the new Commodore 64 Ultimate and you see it here, and I made an unboxing and first impressions video. I hope you saw that. But I'm not finished yet. I thought in this video I'm gonna do a little bit more exploration about this machine, and I thought about taking a look inside and also figure out a couple of ways to load games on it. So if you want to learn about that, then please stay tuned. So here you have it, the Commodore 64 Ultimate Starlight Edition, and it looks great. Just before I start, there was an issue with this machine. It had some issues with the keyboard, and apparently that is now fixed. Some kind of flex. I'm not really sure. I can see some flex, but I don't know if that's normal or not. Yeah, maybe it is flexing. But is it a problem? I don't know. I don't push that hard. Apparently this was a problem only on the Starlight. Yeah, it does move down slightly, but I wouldn't consider that an issue. Maybe it was first worse than this. I heard that they fixed it, and hopefully it's fixed on this. Alright, so there's several things I want to check out in this video. I want to try to load games from the network, from my PC via Wi-Fi. That is one way to load games. Obviously you can use the USB memory stick and SD card, and you can also use cartridges and real devices like a floppy disk drive and cassette deck. I read somewhere that there was some issues, at least some had experienced issues with the Commodore cassette deck connected to this machine. They had an old original Commodore cassette player, and it didn't work very well with this machine. However, it did work on their original normal Commodore 64, so that's what I'm gonna check out first now. Not that I ever will use a cassette player with this machine, but it's always fun to try. Let's try out this one. I think it should be working. Even if I never did turn off the machine back in the day while plugging in the cassette player, I'm gonna do it on this one. And it has the regular cassette port here. Yeah, I heard the motor spin. And this is the tape I always use when I want to test cassette players, because it always loads fine. The turtles. Okay, let's try now. Run, stop, shift, play. Oh, there's audio feedback from the tape that you don't have on the original Commodore 64. Yeah, it found turtles. But that's nice. Then you know what's happening with the tape. Yeah, it seems to be working so far. Let me just wait until it finishes. Turbo tape. Yeah, it loaded that far at least. But yeah, I don't know. It seems to hang. Yeah, I don't know. It seems like the tape didn't start again, and I just stopped it and pressed play again, and then it continued. I'm not sure if that's an issue with the cassette deck or the machine. Yep, that worked nicely. To actually start a game you need a code. I don't bother with that, so I just confirm now that this worked fine. Next I want to check this old boy. It's 1541, really yellowed and really old, but it's supposed to be working. It worked last time. Let's hook it up and see if we can use a real 1541. And this one is connected via the regular IEC serial cable, and that goes into the back here. Turn on the drive first. You're supposed to do that, even though it doesn't really matter. Now to configure using a real 1541, I think you have to select it in the menu, but let's try first. Maybe it's somehow auto-detected or something. Gonna try with the Gauntlet game. Load. Nope, nothing. Alright, so that means we probably have to configure that. Built-in drive A. So it's enabled. Maybe we need to just disable that. Yes, and then try again. Nope. Yeah, I'll figure that out and then I'll be back. Yeah, I actually think there's something wrong with the actual drive because it just hangs, but if I turn it off, then we get this device not present. So I'm going to try another one. See if this is any better. Always fun with old physical floppy disks. Yes, that's working. So what I actually did was just to disable drive A, and B is already disabled. You can also assign the bus ID if you want to have the virtual drives available and also use the external drive. You can just enable this, and I set it to 9 now. And then I can also enable drive B, and it's set to 10, so that will work too. I think this floppy disk is funny, it won't load the directory, so we can try and load the actual game. It's very noisy. Yeah, right, that worked. There we go, 1. It's very slow though, because of course it's loading with the original 1541 speed. It takes several minutes. But with this machine, as the original, you can always use a fast loader, cartridge or something, or Jiffy DOS. Yeah, there you go. That worked nicely. It's not a very good port of the game, but yeah, still fun. So then I have a 1541 to repair. But in our modern day and age, we are used to not waiting, so that is way too slow a way of loading games. Tape and floppy disks are so 1980s. So one way you can load games is from the internet, and you can also load from your own PC computer or Mac or even phone. I think, maybe, I haven't tested that, but it's via the Wi-Fi, so obviously you need to set up your Wi-Fi. And I already did that, and it was quite simple. Obviously you can use a wired network setup if you want to. I don't have a wired network up here, in fact. So you can see here it's already enabled. It's a link up, and the name of my network is there, and the IP address is 10.00.30. And that I could of course just disconnect and connect again, but it's very, very simple. You just enable the Wi-Fi, and then you will find your network, and then you just connect to it and enter the password. And obviously it remembers it, because that I did several days ago. So this is my Windows PC, and just to check that I can connect to the Commodore. This machine is also on the same Wi-Fi, so then I should be able to ping the IP address 10.00.30. Yeah. it pings, but it's not very fast. You see here, time 1300 milliseconds. That's very slow. But yeah, it seems to vary. Here it's down to 19 milliseconds. So maybe the network stack is not the best, but I think that's ESP32 handling that. So yeah, I don't know. But one cool thing, this machine, the Commodore, can act as a server. And that means you can get it up in your browser on your PC, and you can actually load games directly to the Commodore from the browser. To enable that, you go to Network Services and Time Zone, and here you see it has a host name generated. You can change that if you want. I'm just going to leave it as is. And you can also set a network password. It's set to none, so that means I don't need the password from my PC to access it. But here you can use several services. You can have a Telnet remote menu service. It can act as a FTP file service and web remote control service, and that's what I'm gonna enable now. Yes, so that means by using either the host name or the IP address, we should be able to access the Commodore 64 from the web browser. Alright, I have a Google Chrome window. Let me just enter the IP address. I already did, as you can see, 10.0.0.30. And it will complain about not secure, and that's because it doesn't implement SSL or HTTPS. However, this is sometimes very slow, but eventually it loaded. I don't know why it's so slow. It's like it's on modem speed, but that's how it is. I think that should definitely be improved. Anyway, here we are in the C64 HTTP server, and it has a SID player. You can choose a SID. Let me see if I can find SID tune. SID, yeah, here we have something. Let's try Space Raiders. Just drag that file there and play. Yeah, it started. So now the Commodore just launched a SID player. So now if I just drag another SID over to the browser, and that loads instantly, no waiting. Well, enough with that. One thing I noticed is that the web service is apparently alive still if the machine is turned off. You see now it's off. I still have power connected, but it still responds on a ping. And the page is still up. No, the page is not up, but it responds to ping, and that means that the machine is alive. Anyway, the machine is now on, and I can refresh the page. It takes a while to load, but once it's loaded, then things are faster. So that's something you need to fix, Commodore. Yes, I know, even ping timed out. Anyway, not only SID you can start playing, you can actually execute programs, PRG or CRT files, just by drag and drop. And here I have a big collection of Commodore stuff. I think it's almost everything that exists of games and all kinds of stuff. 5 gigabytes, but it supports CRT files, so here's a bunch of cartridge files. Let's try Galaga. Drag it over there. Boom. Yeah, well, it stopped working, and yeah, so I'm not really happy about this solution, but anyway, it loaded. You didn't see it, but it loaded automatically now at the Commodore. Let me just try that again. Let's load Ghostbusters so you can see the whole thing. Drag the file over there. Just wait a minute because of the slow Wi-Fi. The other day I tested this, it was instant, but apparently not today. Yeah, there you go. So it took like 10 seconds. It's not that bad. So when it works fine. You also have this live monitor where you can issue commands and get the memory view and stuff like that. Fill memory, disassemble. I haven't tested that. And you have a basic editor. So here, if you want to write your basic on your PC and not the real Commodore, you can just type your basic there and push upload. Let's see now the machine while I do that. So now I press upload and run. Yeah, that was instant. Maybe if you want to write some big program and want to have a better editor or use some AI, then you can use this basic editor on in your web browser. That would be a much better experience than actually typing everything in the Commodore. You can also activate the menu from the browser, like that. That's the menu button. You can also reset the machine by pressing the reset machine, or you can reboot the machine. So that was that. Kind of cool. I was a little bit unlucky now. It didn't work properly. The other day it worked fine most of the time. Now I want to take a peek inside the machine. I'm quite excited about that. But then we have to open it up, obviously. And I heard that the screws could be very hard to get out. But I think with this big screwdriver there should be no issue. Yeah, that was easy. No issues there. Yeah, nice machine screws. How about the other ones? Oh, that one's a little bit more stuck, but yeah. It's only those 3 front screws, like on the original. And they didn't sit any harder than normal. So, yeah. Okay, let's take a peek inside. Yes. There you go. Very nice white motherboard. And the keyboard is just a USB connector. Apparently you cannot use other USB keyboards. Oh, that was kind of stuck. It's a USB-C. And then we have the LED lighting for the keyboard. That was quite stuck too. Yeah, that's the underside of the keyboard, and you can see the actual keys through it, and the actual circuitry for all the keys, and the LEDs. The LED for the case is actually connected via the keyboard, and here's the LED strip, and there's a couple of surface mounted chips there. Fancy modern stuff. Luckily it doesn't need cleaning or retrobrighting yet. Alright, so this is the fancy modern motherboard, and yeah, it has a lot of signatures here. People involved. There's Gideon, he's the guy that originally made this, the Ultimate. It's ASCII number 250507. Alright, so here we have the internal user port, and to actually use it you can buy an adapter and bring the user port outside on the machine somehow, maybe through here if you want. I was thinking about getting that, and here you can actually connect an original keyboard. So I won't try that, but let's take a little bit further look. There's a micro SD card slot if you want an internal micro SD card. There's connector there that's not in use, and some headers there. I guess that's for if you want to do some programming of the ESP32 or the FPGA chip. I'm not sure. Here are two internal USB ports. There's the speaker, and besides that you have the regular stuff, the IC serial port, video port, cassette port, and here's the HDMI and the USB ports, the external ones, joystick ports over here. I see a lot of people has done some modifications. They actually installed the buttons here. I'm not going to do that on this machine, obviously, but apparently that gives you more options to controlling the machine. Not a lot of capacitors here, so no need for recapping yet. I only see one there. This is the heart of the machine. That's the FPGA board, and it is connected to the main board via this big connector. I actually heard that this AMD RTX FPGA chip could run hot. Some people has actually experienced that they actually burnt up. I hope that won't happen. There's some other jumpers here, or not jumpers, headers for connecting other stuff like more LEDs and things, button controls, and here's the two SIF sockets if you want to install real SID chips. I'm definitely gonna do that, but not in this video. I already bought the 4 PD SIDs that I tested in another video a while back on the original Commodore. And those PD SIDs were real good, I thought. Anyway, if you want to have installed a real SID, you just take these levers up and put in the SID. Put them down, and then you configure that in the menu. Anyway, I'm just going to do one thing, and that is to insert 8 GB memory card here. I think that should be enough for most games ever made for this machine. I know there are collections that is like 64 GB, but that's a lot of demos and a lot of different versions of the same games, and that would be very hard to navigate through. I'm gonna do one more thing, and since I heard that the FPGA chip could run hot, I thought I'd just install a simple heat sink to that. This one, it's the one that has some adhesive on them already, so you don't need to bother with the glue. Yeah, I just place it straight onto the chip, even if it is a little bit too big, but it will sink some heat. Hopefully I don't break the warranty now. I said I wanted to test a real keyboard, and here I have one. This is a real one from, yeah, in fact it's half the original bread bin. And it goes this way. And the LED, I suppose it goes, and I guess the black is ground, so just put it like that. And this should fit. No, it's not the same type, so it won't fit perfectly, but yeah, we can pretend that it fits. Ugly as hell. Yeah, it actually worked. The power LED is on, it's not that bright. So how about the keyboard? Yeah, it works. Nice. So now we tested that too. Yeah, that was the inside. Just to put it back together again. Try not to break anything, since I'm planning to maybe sell this machine. Yeah, no issues getting the screws back. They just screws in nicely. How about that memory card I inserted? Should I have formatted it before? Let's see now with the disk file browser internal. SD card. Yeah, so that's the SD card. It has a lot of stuff on it. I'm not sure what this is. This is some Raspberry Pi image of some sort. But what if I want to format it? Is that possible? But it doesn't have anything about the SD card. It shows up here under system information. It says that it has around 7.5 gigabytes free. I did find any way to format it, but obviously I can just delete all the files like this. It's not that many files. Yeah, now it's empty. But how do you actually copy something to it if it's internal? I don't want to take it out all the time. Here you can actually use the FTP file service. So I just enable that. There is a FTP command built in to Windows. And I don't remember how to use it, but I guess it's open 10.00.30. Yeah, not logged in, user none, password nothing. And now it's in, and we can type ls to see the files. And the firewall pops up. There's nothing there, but of course this is not very comfortable, so use a FTP client program instead. There's a bunch of those, but I'm just going to download the FileZilla. Just be aware that FileZilla, if you don't decline, it will install the Avast, some security browser plugin or something, which you don't want. I'm not going to go into detail how FTP is working and what it is, but it's a file transfer protocol, usually used for uploading and downloading programs to a FTP server. So just connect, and this server does not support FTP over TLS, and that's okay. We're on the internal network, so we don't care about security. Yeah, so this is then over here. This is the remote site, and here we see the flash and the SD and the temp. So if I just want to copy something from my machine, I have this big archive here. The cartridges, I just drag the whole cartridge folder over to the remote site, SD. I don't know what happened, but you can probably just drag it from the file explorer instead, like that. Yeah. So now it started transferring, and we can see the cartridges folder here. So now they should appear on the C64 Ultimate. After a while, this is quite slow. But I don't have to wait for that to finish. We should already see some files here. File browser, SD card. Enter. Seems like it's working hard now because everything slowed down on the C64, but there you go. The cartridges. Yeah, it didn't come further than to A. So that's probably going to take a couple of hours, so I just leave it there. But we can see so far we have a lot of cartridge games here. Let's try Ace 2. Very slow now since the machine is busy copying files. Run cart. Or you can even copy to flash, the internal flash memory, if you want to use that. Yeah. So that worked. Nice. Obviously you can just copy the files directly to the memory card from a computer first. But this is one way if you want to copy stuff over time. Yeah, nice music by Rob Hubbard. Actually, I'm looking for a couple of small PC speakers with good quality, and I also need a little amplifier then, I guess, so I can plug it into the 3.5mm audio output jack here and configure some stereo SID. If you have any suggestions, then just tell me in the comment section. Yes, that was it for this video. There's still a lot more to do and learn about this fantastic machine. Yes, I'm a fanboy, but not everything is perfect. Obviously, it has some bugs and weaknesses, like the Wi-Fi support, and the file transfer is very slow, but I haven't seen any real bugs like that yet. We'll see. So I hope you enjoyed this video, and I just want to say thanks for watching, and special thanks to my patrons. See you next time. Bye bye.